What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, before we get started, let me know if you can see me and you can hear me, and we'll get started shortly. First, I think I want to do updates. So, I'm going to give you guys some updates, and then we're going to talk a little bit about misinformation when it comes to Social Security and why this is so dangerous when it comes to the program. And there's a lot of misinformation that's out there right now, and I'm going to show you a couple. And we'll talk a little bit about this. I want to spend the majority of our live stream talking about this. And then I do want to see what you guys are saying, answer some questions. If you guys want me to talk about something specific, let me know that you want me to talk about something specific. It doesn't have to just be about Social Security. It can be about anything when it comes to headline news. I will be coming back on live on Monday. Okay, I'll be doing a live stream on Monday. That live stream is going to be focused on the first criminal case that we're seeing when it comes to the former President Trump. And I've wanted to cover this, so I'm going to cover it. It's not going to be, we'll have to see what happens. I don't know exactly. I know they're doing the jury selection, so we'll be covering that as well. And I'll be letting you guys know what's going on. Well, because it won't be televised, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but we'll have documents and stuff to look over and talk a little bit about. I think it's just very interesting. I mean, I am a political nerd. I like politics, both sides. Okay, I'm not just one of these people that just only talks about issues surrounding Democrats or issues surrounding Republicans. I like talking about the government as a whole. Okay, I find it fascinating. I majored in political science when I was in college. And I've ran a few campaigns, or I'll say I run one campaign. I was a campaign manager for one candidate. This was a few years ago, probably about 15 years ago. And actually it was longer than that. It was a little over 20 years ago. And I've always been involved in the whole political process. So I enjoy it. So I do want to follow this story because I think it's a really good story to follow. And of course, this is not the first case. And we'll see more cases after this. But I've just always been intrigued by our political process. Okay. All right. Let's see. If you guys could let me know your name and where you're coming from. And so what state you're coming from. And then also let me know if you're retired or if you're planning to retire or if you're just working. Let me know that in the comments or in the chat because a lot of what we talk about is retirement related, but we also talk about some other things. And I'm just interested to know where you are in your journey. Okay, so let's give some shout outs first. All right, what's going on, brother? He's coming from Illinois. One thing before I even get started here. Okay, I can do it. All right. So I'm going to be gifting. I just had to check this real quick. Let me see. Unlock membership only perks. No, let's see. Membership gifting. I don't know exactly. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go through this to see how this works. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be gifting memberships. Okay. I'm really going to push the memberships now because let me talk about this in a second. As soon as I can figure this thing out. Okay, I just gifted 5 memberships. All right. We'll gift 5 more memberships we'll give 5 more memberships at the end of this video. Okay, so if you're one of these people who received a gift from me, please give me a shout out. I'd appreciate that. I don't even know how I'm doing this. I just bought 5. You guys can also do the same if you want. If you're already a member and you want to gift memberships to other people, the way that it works is you gift a membership. A person will receive that membership for a month. And when you receive that membership, it comes with different perks. So I'll be doing live streams that are just for members. Okay. So I'm going to continue, and I want to make this clear because I know people get concerned when I start talking about memberships. What do you mean? I have to pay to watch you? Okay, so you don't have to pay to watch me. Okay, that's an added bonus. I'm still going to be putting out at least one video per day. And then I'm still going to be doing my live streams on Thursday. I'm still going to do that live stream that I was telling you. I'm going to do a live stream on Monday. And just anytime there's something significant that happens, I'm going to be doing a live stream. So all of that is staying. That none of that is changing. The only thing that's changing is that I want to do a live stream that's offline. Okay, so that's not live. And in that live stream, it's just going to be a little bit more personal. We'll be sitting down. I'll be going over some of the headline news and just talking about some of the different things that are going on, doing some research about maybe a future video, getting your feedback. That's the most important thing. I want to get your feedback on certain things and certain topics that you want me to talk about. And so that's what I'll be doing in like a members only live stream. But other than that, everything else is going to stay the same. So if you've been watching me for 2-3 years now, nothing is going to change on that end. You're still going to see the same content coming from me. But for members, I'm going to do something a little bit extra. Okay. So I gifted 5 memberships. I will give 5 more at the end of our live stream today. And then I have to kind of figure out, I don't even know what I'm doing when it comes to these gifting live streams. I mean, I don't even honestly don't even know how much we'll figure it out. But that's what I want to do. Okay. So the plan is every live stream on Thursday, I'll be gifting memberships. Okay. And then we'll just go from there. Now, like I said, if you want to become a member, you can become a member. You don't have to be gifted a membership. You can also purchase the membership for the month. So that's something that you can do. So you can check that out. All you need to do is just click on the join button, and then it'll take you over there. All of this stuff, just so you guys understand, this stuff goes to help me put out content, and that's the bottom line. I really like doing this. Okay, I really like putting out content for you guys, and but just understand, there's a lot of time that YouTubers in general. I would talk about all YouTubers because I don't know if people understand how much time and effort and money that we put into YouTube. We put a lot of money into this. Okay, it's not something that you just, let me put it this way. I'm not using my phone to record this. I'm using, a high-end camera. I'm using, a high-end computer. I have all of this equipment that I have, the computer monitors and everything, my nice little Samsung tablet. And so there's a lot that goes into putting out this content. Now, I enjoy it. But I'm just letting you guys know that people in certain situations, people look at YouTube and they think, oh, it's easy. And you don't really need to put any time or effort or money or anything into it. No, it's the opposite. I won't say it's the opposite, but that is not the case. There's a lot more that you have to put into it. Okay. So now that we have that out of the way, and I gifted the membership, so I'm glad that worked. I will go ahead and give some more at the end of this live stream. Okay. Now, all that I ask of you guys, members, if you've been gifted a membership, if I gift you a membership, say thank you. If someone else gifts you, because another person can give you a membership as well. So if someone else gifts you a membership, make sure you say thank you in the chat. Okay. And the other thing, if you've been gifted a membership or if you're a member, keep your eye open for me doing live streams offline. Okay. So, and what will happen is if I'm doing a live stream, I'll send out that notification. It will go out to members. So members will know that I'm doing a live stream. And join me. Just come over and we'll chat. It'll be very informal. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let me continue to do these shout outs, and then we'll get started with the misinformation about Social Security. All right. And then also, if you guys can do me another favor, hit the like button. Because if you hit the like button, that's going to promote us out to more people. And so please do that. Just hit the like button. It is free, and it won't take you more than half a second to do it. Okay. All right. Let's give some shout outs. And Diana is saying I sound good. Thank you very much. If you guys ever hear or see something weird, or if the camera goes out or something, just let me know. Let me know in the chat, because that's the most embarrassing thing. Well, not the most, but it's embarrassing when you're shooting a video, a live stream, you're talking, you're doing all this, and no one can hear you, or the video goes out and no one can see you, and it's like, and then you find out like 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, I was doing this whole time. Okay, let's see. Alpha Dog, we need a stimulus check for groceries. So, yeah, you know what? States were doing that for a while, right? Well, it wasn't really specifically for groceries, but they were doing those rebates, gas rebates. Generally, what states will do is, it depends, but when they look at their surpluses, because states have to balance their budget every year. So if they've balanced their budget, well, they have to. They don't have a choice. They can't deficit spend like the federal government. So if there's money left over, sometimes they will have these rebates, and so we'll have to see if that's the case this year. But as far as a federal stimulus check, that's not going to happen. We just saw the numbers. The inflation numbers came out yesterday, and it was hotter than expected. When I say hotter than expected, I mean that inflation is starting to go up again, and that is not what the Federal Reserve wants to see, because what that means is inflation is not going away. And I want to show my screen here to show you guys a couple of graphs here. We'll talk a little bit about inflation, but I just want to show you that we're not out of the woods when it comes to inflation. And so we're going to have to get through this. And this was the CPI, the inflation numbers for March, okay? And just so you guys can see, I'm just going to show you this real quick. So we have two types of inflation that they're looking at. They're looking at core inflation. That's this, whatever that color blue is. And then this regular blue here, that's all inflation. So all items. All items year to date is 3.1% or 3.5%. Okay, so that's an increase. We're seeing it go up. And you can see in this graph, you see what's going on here. Okay, so it bottomed out here, went back, bottomed out here, went back up, bottomed out here, went back up, bottomed out here. Now it's going back up again. Okay, we want to see that going down. We need it to go this way. And so that's what people are concerned about right now, inflation. Now, core inflation, that's this top part here. And you see what core inflation is doing now. The Federal Reserve is looking at this core inflation because this is in their words, it's a better indicator of our economy because they take out food and energy. Okay, and so it's not, basically what they're saying, it's not as doesn't fluctuate as much. So they're really looking at this. You see, it's almost it's dropping, but it looks like it's kind of bottoming out, and it's going straighter now. So let's hope that core inflation continues to do that, and then let's also hope that all items inflation starts to go back down. Okay, and I think this is a month-to-month chart here. Yeah, this is a month-to-month chart, just to give you an idea. So they're just looking at month-to-month, what is inflation doing? And if we go back to, I believe this was, let's see, I believe this right here is October. Yeah, so that's October. So you see it was down in October, all right, for month to month. And then there was a little uptick here, another little uptick here, and then an uptick here in February and March. And that's where we are right now. Now, what we don't want is, we're seeing the stair stepping, right? We don't want to see another stair step in April. Okay, so that is something they're going to be really watching closely. We're all going to be watching closely. And this has an impact. It has an impact on all of us, especially if you are a person who's retired right now and you're thinking about, okay, well, things are good and my 401k looks good. My retirement plans look good. If we are looking at inflation, if we're looking at something like this, this can have a major impact on the money that we have to spend, our purchasing power. And we know that the cost of living adjustments never keep up with inflation. And so every year you're getting a cost of living adjustment. It's not keeping up with what inflation is. And so just looking at this indicator right now, a year to date, 3.5%, right? What was the cost of living adjustment for 2024? Cost of living adjustment was 3.2%. So we're over that cost of living adjustment already. And we just started the year, right? So, and understand this information we're getting is from March. Okay, so it's not from April yet. So this is from March. We don't know what's going to happen in April. And so we're already looking at a situation where our purchasing power isn't as strong as the cost of living adjustment that was issued out to people receiving Social Security benefit. Okay. So just something to keep an eye on, because this is important for you to know what's going on in the market. And so let me let's see. I wanted to go over, and we're going to talk a little bit about misinformation. We'll talk about misinformation, and then we'll get back over to the chat. I know I didn't give the shout outs yet, but I don't want to go too long without showing you guys what you guys came to see today. So, misinformation. Why is this important? Why is it important that we talk about this when it comes to Social Security? When it comes to anything in general? I mean, when we're looking at misinformation, this can have a huge impact on elections. This can have a huge impact on just our daily life. And because of the internet is changing things when it comes to how people, what people think and what people believe. And we're seeing, I'll just say, I'm seeing a lot of misinformation out there that is hurting us. And Social Security is just one area that's being impacted, but I'm seeing it all over, especially when it comes to political topics and political situations. We're seeing this, and it's just, misinformation alone can tear this country apart. It can divide us. We're already seeing a lot of division, and then it can actually collapse, our country. Just misinformation. Because if we can get a group of people to believe something and go against another group of people, now what do we have? We have fighting amongst us, amongst Americans. And what does that do? If we're fighting against each other, what does it do? It makes us weak. And then guess what? You have adversaries that are watching us and trying to get in between and split our country apart. So that's why it's so dangerous when it comes to misinformation. And I've done a few videos in the past talking about some of the different things. I like that there are some websites out there right now that talk specifically about that. PolitiFact is one that I look at all the time. They have a lot of just misinformation, and they fact check it, and then they tell you what's going on with some of this misinformation. Some of the stuff you don't even hear about, you don't even know, and you just think, oh, okay, well, I didn't even know about that. Or one of the big things when it comes to Social Security, let me show you. And this is just one. Now, I can't enlarge the screen, so that's as large as I can get it to go. But I'll read it to you guys. Hopefully you guys can see it. But I'll read it to you. Let's see, can I make it? No, I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, so I'll just read it to you, and then we'll go from there. So it says, important question, or it says important Q. Should the Supreme Court block Biden from giving Social Security to illegal immigrants? Retweet, please. Do you support this, yes or no? And then, of course, you have people that responded to, and I really do not like, I really don't like Twitter. The platform is just, doesn't seem like it works the way it should. So here are some of the comments. And you have people saying, yes, Supreme Court should block it. Yes. A lot of people in here just saying yes, right? And so what's the problem with this? And in the chat, let me know what you think the problem is when it comes to what this question was asking. okay, or what this person was asking in a question. You see, you have a lot. Okay, no social security cards for illegal aliens. Yes, yes, yeah. You see all of this, right? What is the problem? In the chat, you guys let me know what the problem is with what I just read and what you're seeing. Okay. So you see all these responses. Okay. A lot of hate there, okay. Or I shouldn't say a lot, but some hate going on as well. But you see how this can divide us as a country? And let me come back. All right. So what is the problem with this? The problem, did anybody put it in the chat? Anybody? No, nobody? Shrinkflation. Yeah, you know what? Shrinkflation is misinformation. I would agree. Okay, so let's talk about it. So if you post something like this and you're talking about should the Supreme Court block Biden from giving Social Security to illegal immigrants? All right, let me be clear. Social Security cannot go to illegal immigrants. Okay, it cannot. It is not possible. And I know that, and I've seen this before, and I've even, when I put out videos, I've had people in the chat say something very similar, okay? Or in the chat, in the comments. They say something similar when I put out videos. You know, if we stop giving money to illegal immigrants, you know, or stop giving Social Security to illegal immigrants, that is not happening. Okay, people work hard for Social Security. You need to qualify to receive Social Security benefits. I've been working, I worked 5 years paying into the payroll contribution. And then I got, my career job. When I got my career job, I had a pension plan set up. So I was paying into a pension. And so I was no longer paying into the payroll contribution. But for 5 years, I paid into the payroll contribution. Well, guess what? I'm not getting Social Security just working 5 years. I don't qualify. And so you have to work at least 10 years. You have to get the points, and it's about 10 years. That's what they say, in order to qualify for Social Security benefits. That's the way the system works. Social Security benefits are not going out to people who are not here legally. And they're not going out to people who do not qualify, just like me. Right now, if I were 62 or 62 or above, and I wanted to start collecting Social Security, guess what? I don't qualify. I can't get it. It's not possible. And so you see when someone puts something out here like this with no, they're not showing you any facts or anything. They're just basically, I have a question for you guys. Do you think that the Supreme Court should block? Okay, well, guess what? The Supreme Court this is not going to the Supreme Court because this is not an issue that is happening. It can't possibly happen. Now, what's happening with this situation? And or actually, I'll say this. What I think is going on when it comes to this situation is I think we're looking at SSI. Okay, now understand this. SSI and Social Security benefits are two separate programs. They're different programs. Okay, the Social Security Administration administers both programs, but they are different. They come from different banks of money. Social Security comes from our trust fund as well as the payroll contribution. So when we're working, we're paying into the payroll contribution. That money goes to the Social Security Administration. They take that money and they pay out benefits. And then now, because we're in a situation where the payroll contribution alone is not enough, and so now we have a trust fund that's set aside only for Social Security, and that money is coming in to supplement the money that we're not collecting in the payroll contribution. So that's how it's working. That money goes to Social Security beneficiaries. So people who qualify for Social Security benefits, that's where that money's coming from. When it comes to SSI, SSI is coming from the general fund. The general fund is the money that just goes when we pay taxes and things like that. That money, it's not money specifically for Social Security. It's just money that we pay taxes on. It goes to to our government, and then they spend it on whatever they need to spend it on. So Congress, when they pass bills and things like that, that's where that money comes from. The president has emergency funds and different things like that that they have set aside. That's where that money comes from. It's our general fund. Okay, that's where Social Security and Medicare, we have a specific funnel, okay, contributions coming in specifically for those programs and those programs only. Whereas a general fund, that money can go towards a variety of different things. Now, supplemental security income, SSI, people who are not here legally, and they have to qualify. They still have to, just like anyone receiving SSI, you have to qualify. So they can apply for it. Could they receive it? Possibly. And so I think that's where the disconnect is coming from. And people are just saying, oh, it's coming from the Social Security Administration, so that's Social Security that they're issuing out. It's not the same. It is not the same at all. And for those of you in the chat that are receiving SSI, there are very strict guidelines to receive SSI. There are thresholds that you can't go over, and if you go over those thresholds, if you have too much money in your savings and all this, you are no longer qualified for it. So it's a very temporary thing for most people. And it also goes out to the blind, goes out to the elderly, people who are extremely poor. But as I stated, there are very strict guidelines to that. And if you go over those thresholds, then you no longer qualify. So I just wanted to make that clear because I'm seeing it more and more. And it's like that snowball at the top of the hill that starts rolling down the hill and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm seeing that go on when it comes to Social Security. Now, why is this dangerous? Why is it dangerous that we have people putting out false information about Social Security? It's dangerous. Actually, even before I go there, I want to show you guys this video. Now, I was preparing to make this video a short, but I didn't finish it yet. And so I'm going to have to like show you. Let me set the stage before we even get to it. So I have it set up in a short format, so it's vertical. And I'm down at the bottom. That's not me live. That's actually, I've already recorded it. And so I'm going to try to just show you the clip of this gentleman talking about Social Security, okay? And then we'll talk a little bit about it. So I have to queue it up and everything. I haven't set it all up yet. All right, so let me queue it up. And like I said, this is not me live. I'm just going to fast forward to this section. And let's see, before I even get that going, let me see if my audio is working and everything. Yeah, it should be working. I hear it. Okay, so I'll find the section and I'll play it and then we'll come back. Here we go.
And here's another sick thing. And here's
okay,
and here's another sick thing. And here's
okay, take a look and listen to this.
Another sick thing that you need to understand. I worked 24 years in the border. And here's another sick thing that you need to understand. I worked 24 years in the Border Patrol. I have Social Security. You're a working man. You're pouring into Social Security. You got truckers, 30 years, construction workers, nurses, stockbrokers, whatever. When I bring in my illegal alien grandma that's never worked a day in her life, you know that she gets the maximum Social Security benefit payout? What? So she'll get more money than me? For our grandmas and grandpas that are living paycheck to paycheck, the illegal alien grandma from Sudan and Mexico, wherever, she gets more money than the person person that's worked their whole life.
I mean, this is infuriating.
Okay. So you guys saw that, right? And like I said, I'm doing a video on that, or I'm doing a short on that. So I'm going to put that out. But this is, I believe that's from Redacted, another YouTube channel. And you see that, right? And of course, that's going to infuriate you. And the way that this gentleman was talking about it, this former Border Patrol agent, right? He's talking about it like this. He's saying that people who work, pay into the payroll contribution their whole life, I think he said that legal grandma comes over to this country, and he or she will be able to receive the maximum Social Security benefit without having worked at all. That is the claim here. The maximum Social Security benefit. And the maximum now, I think if it's just retiring at 67, it's like 30. Let me see here. Let me type this in. I'm curious to know. Maximum Social Security benefits. So let's see. $3,822 for someone at full retirement age in 2024. So that is the maximum, $3,800. So what this individual is saying, they're saying that someone who comes here illegally will qualify for $3,800 in Social Security benefits without having worked a day in the country. Does that sound reasonable? Does that sound like something that's going on? Let me know in the chat. Serious conversation. How does that sound to you? That is not, to me, the way I hear it, that's not even, I mean, how would that possibly happen? Because, like I said, there are calculations that are done in order for you to receive Social Security benefits. And a big chunk of the calculation that they're using is your work history, your 35 years of work history. That's what they're using. That would mean, in order for you to receive the maximum, just understand this, in order for you to receive the maximum Social Security benefit, you need to show that you've paid the maximum payroll contribution for 35 years. For 35 years. The maximum payroll contribution right now is $168,600. That is the maximum. So right now, and it changes, it goes up every year. So you would have to have started 35 years ago, whatever that maximum was 35 years ago, and I don't know what that was offhand. You would have had to have made that, received that, or you would have had to have been paying that maximum up until today in order to receive that maximum benefit. Okay, and then they have the other calculations that they use as well. I don't know all the details when it comes to the calculations, but the major calculation is your 35 highest earning years. That's what they're looking at. So you're going to tell me that someone coming from another country that has no work history at all is going to be able to come over here and receive the full benefit? Come on. But you put that information out there, it gets people upset. People don't look into it at all. And guess what? Now they're looking at Social Security and saying this system is broken. Even though it's been paying out for 80 plus years, this system is broken. We need to get rid of the system. We need to government shouldn't be involved. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you're going to hear people say because of misinformation that's going out like this. We need to privatize Social Security. We shouldn't have government, controlling this because they're giving it out to people who aren't legally here. That's the danger of information like this. That's the danger. And I will challenge anyone, this individual, anyone out there that's putting out content like this, show me where it's coming from. Show me the receipts of people coming to this country illegally receiving $3,800 a month from Social Security. Okay? And then understand too, if they were to qualify for SSI, and SSI is different. Okay, we've made we've talked about the difference between Social Security benefits and SSI. SSI is coming from a general fund. Social Security benefits are coming from that payroll contribution and the trust funds. That's where that money is coming from. Social Security, okay? SSI is coming from the general fund. If you qualify for SSI, an individual, the maximum SSI payout is what, $940 something? That is the maximum. You can't receive any more than that. And as I stated, there are strict guidelines when it comes to SSI. Certain thresholds, if you go over that threshold, you no longer qualify. And if you try to cheat the system, eventually you'll be found out. And then guess what? They're going to come back. They're going to come after you for those overpayments. And we already know the Social Security Administration is doing that. And most of the claims now, the overpayments are coming from SSI. And that's mainly due to the fact that it's harder to, because they have so many different thresholds. Once you meet, and I say thresholds, but different rules, once you break one of those rules, you no longer qualify, it's a little bit hard to catch up and find out who's qualified and who's not qualified. Okay, they're working on the system. I can't remember the name. I think it's PIC or something like that. That's a new system that they're working on to try to streamline this. But to lead people to believe, just like in the video, that you're going to be working, you are going to work 35 years, 20 years, whatever. You're going to pay into the payroll contribution, pay into Social Security, and then someone's going to come from another country and be able to take your Social Security benefits, get as much as you, or more than you. And in his case, he's saying they would get more. They would max out. And so it's just, I mean, it's so harmful. It's so hard. Misinformation is so bad for just our psyche. But if you have people that believe this, they're thinking, okay, Social Security is broken. We need to get rid of Social Security. And you already hear people saying this. I hear politicians saying this. That's how bad it's gotten. You have politicians, people who it's their job to know how things work, how government works, how Social Security works. They're saying the same thing. We need to get rid of the system. We have money going out to here, and we have money going out there. They're saying this. How many politicians have you heard say Social Security is going bankrupt? That's all they'll say. Social Security is going bankrupt. In 9 years, Social Security is going bankrupt. That's all they're going to say, right? They're not saying anything else. And so if someone tells you Social Security is going bankrupt, what do you think? If I were to tell you a company is going bankrupt, what would you think? That company is going under, right? The company will no longer exist in a year from now if they're going bankrupt. They're in the process of going bankrupt. So you have lawmakers saying this exact same thing. And you guys have heard, I'm not making this up. You've heard, I could put it, we can do a search right now and you'll see politicians saying those exact words. Now, what they should be saying, if they were responsible, is they would be saying the trust fund is going insolvent. The trust fund is going bankrupt. That's what they would be saying if they were responsible. But they're not responsible because what they want you to believe, the program as a whole is going bankrupt. It's going to be done with. We need to make change. We need to, and which I agree, we do need to make change, but not the change that they want to make. We need to make change. We need to do away with the program. That's why we need to privatize it. That's why they'll say all of this stuff. And for a person just listening to this and hearing that Social Security is going bankrupt, they're going to think, you know what? Well, if it's going bankrupt, we need to do something. But that isn't the case. We know the trust fund is, and as I explained it to you guys earlier, I'll explain it for the people who just tuned in. Social Security as a whole is not going bankrupt because you have money coming from two different separate areas. You have money coming from the payroll contribution. So as long as we have people in the workforce, as long as there are people in this country working, they're going to be paying into a payroll contribution. Unless you have lawmakers that get their way and say, yeah, we need to get rid of the payroll contribution. We shouldn't be paying all these extra taxes. Let's get rid of the payroll contribution. One of the things I fear is that you hear politicians talking about, let's have a flat tax. Let's just have a flat tax across the board. And let's say it's 15%. Everybody pays 15%. We're going to do away with all the other taxes, and we're just going to have a flat tax. It might sound good, right? You're thinking, okay, well, now I pay like 30%, in taxes, or 32%. It'll be great. 15% sounds good. But guess what? They'll do away with the payroll tax, what I like to call the contribution, because that's what it is, payroll contribution, but they call it a tax. So they'll get rid of that. If they get rid of the payroll contribution, guess what? There's no money going to Social Security. Because as I stated, you have the two places two places where they're getting money for Social Security benefits. When you're working right now, you're paying into that payroll contribution. As long as we have people in the workforce, we're going to have money coming in through the payroll contribution. So that's one area. And then they supplement the rest with the trust fund. So they're taking money. It's $2.7 trillion right now. That's in that bank. They're taking money from that trust fund. That's how it works. It's pretty simple. But the problem is the trust fund that has $2.7 trillion in it, it is slowly depleting. And in 9 years, it will be completely depleted. I think it's like $1.5 trillion that we spend on Social Security every year. Okay, so you're slowly pulling from the trust fund, and that $1.5 trillion is not all coming from the trust fund. As I stated, payroll contribution and trust fund. So eventually that money will be gone from the trust funds. When it's gone, then we're going to see a 23% cut to Social Security benefits if Congress does nothing. And that's why I talk a lot about what is Congress doing when it comes to Social Security? What are they talking about when it comes to Social Security? I talk a lot about that because this is a serious issue. This is going to impact people who are currently receiving benefits, as well as Gen Xers who will be retiring in the coming years. Gen Xers are going to they're going to be hit hard. And I say we, because I'm a Gen Xer. We're going to be hit hard because you're going to have people that have been planning their retirement. They're in their 50s right now, planning when they're going to retire. And they're thinking, okay, you know what? I can retire early. I can retire at 62 if I want. I'll have the money that I need. And they're looking at the calculations, and they're using Social Security benefits to offset some of the, they have a retirement plan. They have all this stuff set up, and they're looking at Social Security and saying, okay, I should be able to get about this amount Social Security, and then I'll be able to get my retirement, my investments. But what they're not calculating is if in 9 years Congress does nothing, now you have you're getting 23% less, which is significant. If I'm receiving, let's just throw a number out there, an easy number to calculate. If I'm receiving $1,000 in Social Security benefits and they cut that by 23%, that's $230 they're taking out of that $1,000 that I would have received. That's a lot of money. And so it's very important that we understand how Social Security works, and we were able to look at the misinformation and know that it's misinformation. Because I'm telling you, it's all calculated. You have politicians out there that are pushing these narratives. You have other people out there on Twitter and on these different platforms that are pushing this information, this misinformation out there. And it's hurting. It's hurting because it's effective. If you can get people to believe that we're looking at a situation where Social Security won't be here in 9 years because it will be bankrupt, then people are going to make those drastic. People will believe what the politicians want to do when it comes to making change. They're making these drastic cuts and drastic changes. If they think that the program is going under, then they're going to say, okay, let's privatize it. Let's make a private Social Security. What could be wrong with that? And what's wrong with the private Social Security is if you privatize it, then you have no money coming in through a payroll contribution anymore. Because the whole way that the privatized Social Security would work, and they would actually have to do it, they would have to gradually privatize it. They couldn't just privatize it right away because, as I stated, people who are working right now, they're paying into a payroll contribution. That payroll contribution is what's paying the Social Security benefits. They would have to, if they wanted to privatize it, they would have to cut off all benefits. And so people who are currently receiving benefits would no longer be able to receive benefits. That if they wanted to do a private system. But what they would do is they would graduate it. And we have lawmakers and politicians right now that are talking about this. I think Nikki Haley was talking about this at one time. And you have some other lawmakers that were out there, other politicians that are out there that are open to privatize Social Security. So basically what you would do is so you're paying 6.2%. So when you're working, you contribute 6.2%. Your employer contributes the other 6.2%. 12.4% goes to the Social Security Administration. That helps pay out benefits. And then they supplement it with the trust fund. So they take whatever they need in order to pay out benefits to 100%, they take from the trust fund. So that's the current system. What they would do is they would say, okay, you're contributing 6.2%. We're going to have it so you contribute 4% now. And then we'll take, do the math in my head, 6.2%. We'll take 2% of that. There you go. That sounds better. 6.2% is what you currently contribute. We're going to take 2% of that. So instead of you contributing 6.2%, now you're going to contribute 4.2%. That is what will go to the Social Security Administration. And I don't know what they would do with the employer, the matching half of the employer. But 4.2% will come from you. It will go to the Social Security Administration. That other 2%, that will go into the stock market. We'll let you invest that money in some type of private Social Security fund or something. And then over time, the hope is that you would be able to earn interest on that money. And you're invested in the stock market, so you're going to get returns. So you'll earn returns. And as long as our economy is doing well, and over a long period of time, we know our economy outperforms. So we know our economy is going to do well. We know the stock market is going to do well. So you'll have a nest egg set up ready for you when you retire. Now that does sound good, right? You're able to take some money and invest it. Not everyone has retirement plans set up. But the problem with that is that you're taking money from the current system that's paying out benefits to the people who are currently receiving benefits. You're taking money from that, the FICA, that contribution, and you're putting it into the stock market. So now you have less money going to the Social Security Administration, which means that the Social Security Administration is going to draw more on that trust fund because they have less money coming in to pay out benefits. And so that's the problem with that. That means the trust fund gets depleted that much sooner. And that 23% cut that they're talking about, we could see it in 5 years instead of 9 years. And so ultimately what they have to do is they have to reform Social Security. The only way that you could have a private fund set up, and I actually think Ron DeSantis is the one that said this during a debate, and what he was saying, and I don't, believe a lot of what Ron DeSantis says, or I shouldn't say that. I don't agree with a lot of what Ron DeSantis says, but he did say this, and I thought this was correct. If we had a system like prior to, I think 2016 is when we started seeing the trust fund, we had surpluses in the trust fund for years. And then we started drawing on the trust fund. So when I say drawing, we start taking money from it. But for years, we had a surplus. So basically, the way it would work is we had people working, paying into the payroll contribution. we had enough money just from the payroll contribution and the employer match to pay out benefits at 100%. We didn't need to pull any money from the trust fund, and we had money left over from the payroll contribution that was going into the trust fund. And for years, that's the way it worked. And that's why we have this $2.7 trillion in the trust fund right now, because there was a surplus. We had extra money. It's like you're working a job and you're paying all your bills, and you get your paycheck, you pay all your bills, and you have that money left over, you put it in your savings. And you just keep doing that every time you get paid. Eventually, you're going to have a nest egg of money sitting there. But if it gets to a point where your bills are starting to, be more than what you're bringing in when you work in your paycheck, then that's when you're going to have to slowly start taking from the savings. But when we were in that stage where we had surplus, we had money left over after we were paying out the payroll, after we were paying out the Social Security benefits through the payroll contribution, that leftover money, we could have been investing that. Okay, so at that time, or I shouldn't say that leftover money, at that time, it would have been appropriate. We could have worked it that way, where we would have said, okay, since we don't need that full 6.2% that you're paying into the payroll contribution, we can take 2% of that, put it in a private fund for you. And you can invest it in the stock market. And we'll still pay out 100% to beneficiaries, and we'll have a little bit of money for you that's invested for a retirement plan, right? So that could have worked back then, but we're not there anymore. We don't have a surplus. And because we don't have a surplus, we can't move that. We can't do that. It's not going to work. So, all right. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the chat. We're going to start. I'm going to get in here and see what you guys are saying. But yeah, this is this is not a good situation. We definitely need to know what's going on when it comes to Social Security and misinformation. When it comes to misinformation in general, okay? I'll do more videos where we talk about just misinformation about different things. But I think Social Security is crucial. I mean, this would have the biggest impact on our population. We're talking what? I mean, population, American, as far as Americans, this would have the biggest impact, because it's like 70 million people that are receiving Social Security benefits. 70 million people. And they could be impacted by a decision that is made, and some of these decisions could be made based on misinformation. So it's very dangerous. All right. So I gifted those memberships earlier. I'll gift another 5 memberships at the end of this live stream. And I talked a little bit about it. So the members, if you see someone's name in green, those are the people who are members. Now, the way that they do the membership, like if I gift a membership, the way that it's set up is basically, it's kind of weird. Like they're basing it on your participation in the chat is what I've been told. I don't know exactly how this all works. This whole gifting thing is new to me, but that's what they're doing. So if you're participating in the chat, then they're looking at that to determine who gets the gifted memberships. Okay, Felicia coming in from Rochester, New York. New York. Thank you for stopping by and watching the show. Okay, R. Rod says, I've been retired for 12 years now, was a firefighter in Texas. Thank you for your service. Appreciate that. So you were working in the government like I did. Hopefully you receive pensions out there. I don't know what the plan is out in Texas. I know in California, and I will say, when it comes to working for the government in California, people can talk about California all they want. I will tell you, when it comes to law enforcement and fire, we have the best trained civil servants in the world. But we are very well trained. Okay, and I'm talking about all law enforcement. I was a probation officer, but I was able to work on task force. I was able to do a lot of different things, working special operations and things like that. And we were very well trained, very well trained. Just as a probation officer, we trained every month We did firearms training every month. My police counterparts, because I worked for 7 years, I worked, on a task force with I was outsourced to a police station, and they train every 3 months, 3 to 4 months. We trained every month in firearms, and we also had I know I'm going off on. I like going off on these different stories. These are different rants, but we had this octagon set up computer. It's like just think of it like this. It's a simulation machine. It's like a big video game. Just think of it like that. But it's high tech and it's very expensive. Hundreds of thousands of dollars that our department paid for this. But it's like an octagon, but there's one opening in the back. So I think there's like 7 screens in front of you. So you walk into this area and you have like a firearm, but it's like an airsoft gun. So it gives you the real recoil and all of that. You have to reload it. You have to do everything just like you would do with a normal firearm. And so you walk into this and they have scenes and it's like a movie, but you're surrounded by the environment and things go on in the environment and you respond and do what you need to do. And, you have active shooter training and you have all this stuff. We had that. Most the police agency that I worked in for 7 years, they didn't have that stuff. We had that kind of stuff. And I mean, anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but yes, very, very well trained in California. And you see it too, because I would go to different conferences. And when you go to these different conferences, you have people coming in from all over, and then you can kind of gauge how, their level of expertise is and just how they do things. Also, when you work on a task force, you're working with a lot of different agencies. And so let's say there's a big operation, and we're working with HSI, so Homeland Security investigators. We're working with the FBI. We're working with these different agencies when there's a specific thing that needs to, a specific operation. So you have all these different agencies come in, and then you have to work with them. You got to go and, you serve search warrants with them. You see how tactical they are. You see how they move and all this stuff. And I will tell you, California, we're very, very well trained. All right. I don't even know how I got onto that. But anyway, Rod, thank you for your service. Let's see. Love your videos and information. So thank you, Michael, for this. Love your information. Love your videos and information you give us. God bless you and your family always. Thank you. Thank you very much. All righty. And let's see, Valeria from Jacksonville, Florida. Tina says she needs a membership. I will be giving out 5 more at the end of this live stream, so hopefully you'll be able to get one. Brenda from Louisiana. And let's see. The American people want videos, things that are getting ready to happen, and not videos on talk. Okay, Warren again. I did a video. If you saw my last live stream, I don't know if you're still in the building, but it's okay. Let me just put it this way, and I'll tell you what I talk about on this channel. Okay, now if you want to, if this does not suffice you, I'm sorry. There's nothing that I can do about that because I can't make things happen that aren't happening. Okay, all I can do is give you the information. That's all I can do on this channel. So basically, he's saying the American people want videos on things that are getting ready to happen, and not videos on talks. Okay, so all I can tell you, if a lawmaker comes out and says, this is what I want, this is the proposal that I want to move forward, that's all that I can tell you. This is a proposal that they want to move forward. Now, the reason why it's good to tell you that is so you know what's out there. If you don't know what's out there and you just wait for politicians to actually move something forward, then you're letting them dictate what happens. If that makes sense. If I tell you the Social Security 2100 Act is out there and this is what's in the program, are in the proposal, then what you should do, first off, you know that information, so you know that there's something out there. And then what you should do with that is you should be contacting those congresspeople and telling them, this is what I support. This sounds like a good proposal. What do you think? You need to put pressure on those people, okay? These are on those politicians. That's what you need to do. That's the way our government is designed. A representative democracy. We have politicians that are in DC. They're there to represent us. But if we don't tell them what we demand and what we want, then they're just going to do whatever they want. There's no representation there. They don't have to represent us. I mean, if we're just saying, oh, okay, we'll let them figure it out. And, when the checks are going to arrive, then let me know. Then we're letting them decide what's going to be, what's going to happen in the future. And something as serious as Social Security, we need to buy in. We need to be there. We need to know the information. We need to be able to tell these politicians what we want, what we expect. Not what they want, not what they expect, what we want. And so that's what this channel is about. This channel is about, I'm not here telling you, yes, you're right. I could just wait, not say anything, and then put a video out once they've already decided that they're going to bring something to the floor, a bill on Social Security. They're going to bring it to the floor. I can let you know then. And then you know what's going to happen then? You're going to have a lot of upset people saying, well, why are they raising the full retirement age? And why are they doing this? And why didn't we know about this? And why didn't we know about that? That's what people are going to say. You're going to have a lot of upset people. When now you can get out in front of it. They're talking about it. I tell you guys this in a lot of videos that I post. I tell you, you have politicians right now seriously talking about raising the full retirement age from 67 to 69. They're talking about this right now. And you can cut that off by contacting your congresspeople and say, no, don't raise the full retirement age. We don't accept that. And so that's what I'm trying to do on the channel. I'm trying to give you guys the information so you know, okay, look, I'm not telling you that it's, let's just put it this way. It's all talk until it's not talk anymore. It's all talk until it gets to the point where they start moving forward with something. And that's when people are going to be like, oh, why did they choose to do this? Or why are they doing that? Well, they're doing that because no one cares. No one cares to reach out to them. I mean, they'll do their little polls and, do little fillers. And when they're on their recess, they'll go out and they'll say, hey, they'll do a town hall meeting and they'll talk to the people and they'll see how the people feel about certain things. But if people don't know about the different proposals and different things that are out there, then they're not going to, if we're looking at a situation where, let's say you have a politician that wants to raise the full retirement age to 69, and they're not getting any pushback. They're not hearing anything from the people. They're kind of keeping it quiet because they know it's not really popular. But people don't even know that they're putting out these study committees, the Republican study committee they just put out. People don't know about that. But if I'm letting you guys know, hey, this is what's on the line. This is what they're talking about. If I let you know that, now you know it. And so the next town hall meeting that you go to, you can say, hey, look, I saw this on the Republican study committee that says you want to raise the full retirement age to 69. Is that true? Now you're holding their feet to the fire. Now they have to respond to that. Now they can see the outrage. They can see that people don't want that. They can't sneak it by, like pass it without anybody knowing about it. And so that's what comes first. What comes first is we need to know what's on the table. So hopefully that makes sense. But Warren, I get it. If you don't want to hear this kind of stuff, then, there are plenty of channels out there that you can go to and get the information that you seek. But I am going to tell, and I'm going to continue doing this, I'm going to tell you what these politicians are talking about when it comes to different policy. I'm going to let you know ahead of time. That way you can, reach out to them. In a lot of situations too, you'll get phone calls they'll do polls and things like that. You'll be an informed voter. You'll be an informed individual, informed citizen. And so when you get a phone call and they say, what do you think about reforming Social Security? Oh, you know what? I think we should reform Social Security. And I think the Social Security 2100 Act would be a good reform to Social Security because it does this, this, and this, and it prolongs the program for another 75 years. Wow. You tell that to a politician, and they're going to be like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. And some of these lawmakers, they don't even know what's in these proposals, okay? They don't even know. And so you start talking like that, and they're, oh, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll have to do some research and look into that, I'll get back to you. But you at least call them out on it, and they know that you're informed. And if we have an informed public, that keeps politicians in line. If they know what you're doing, that keeps them in line. If they know, no, if you know what they're doing, that keeps them in line. Right? Just like if you have a boss, and your boss, they don't have to be all over your, all over your back looking at what you're doing. But if they're informed, they know what you're doing and what you're supposed to be doing, then you're more than likely, you're going to be doing your job because you know that you have someone that's watching you. Even if they're watching you from afar, you know that they're watching. And that's what we need to do. We need to watch these politicians because we have a lot out there. Every time I talk about this, I won't say a lot. You have some politicians out there right now, they're not doing anything. They've never done anything. They've been there for 2 years, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. Haven't done a thing. Haven't sponsored legislation. Haven't authored any bills. They haven't done anything. But nobody's paying attention. So, hey, it's a free ride. They get that $174,000 every year. They don't need to do anything because people aren't watching them. And then as soon as money is coming to their district, guess what? They're taking pictures. They're posting it on Twitter. Look at how much money I'm bringing to the district. And in a lot of cases, and we've seen this, Lauren Boebert was the last one, taking pictures, posting them on Twitter, and then you find out, oh, guess what? They voted against that bill. So that $20 million that came to Colorado District 3, guess what? It wasn't from her. She voted against that. But you wouldn't know if you're not paying attention. All you're seeing is the money came, and I see this picture of her, and she's saying, hey, look, we have $20 million for infrastructure in my district. And people don't dig deeper than that. They don't go further than that. And that is a problem. That's a huge problem. Because you're letting politicians get away with not doing anything, causing chaos in some cases, and we're the ones that suffer from it. Okay, interested in misinformation. Let's see. Price of gas here is over $4 a gallon. R-Rod. That's in Texas. Wow. $4 a gallon. That's a lot. That's a lot for Texas. I thought Texas was lower than that. It's over $5 here in California, but California, we like to pay all these different taxes and stuff on our gas, and so our gas is always more expensive. But I had no idea in Texas it was that much. Let's see. And Gary's saying, so I already talked about the misinformation, and I know I've gone back way far, or I've gone up to the very top of the chat. So this is stuff that was posted before. And how about shrinkflation? David's saying there. Yeah, shrinkflation is a problem. It definitely is. I did a video on that last year sometime, maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. I want to do another video on that, just kind of a follow-up. But yeah, shrinkflation, if you guys don't know what that means what that is basically you have companies, especially during when we were seeing inflation, companies, what they'll do is they'll shrink the bags and they'll shrink the size of items. Gatorade is one that comes to mind. The last video that I did, it was Gatorade. I think it went from 32 ounces down to 20 something ounces or something like that. But what they did is you have the bottle. The bottle looked about the same size. They made the bottle a little bit taller, but in the bottom, on the bottom of the bottles, and you see this, like if you look at the bottom of I don't even have a water bottle or anything, but if you look at the bottom of a bottle, it's not just flat. Usually it's concave. It goes in, right? And so on the bottom of the bottle, they made it go in higher. And so it was more concave. And so now less fluid goes in there, but the bottle looks pretty much the same. Doesn't look very different. It doesn't look much different. And then the older Gatorade bottles, it was more of a circle, and the newer bottle has kind of like a grip in it where, it's kind of like an hourglass, right? And so they're taking liquid out of the Gatorade bottle, but they're charging you the same amount or even more. That's what they're doing right now. Okay? Or I say right now. They've been doing this for years, but that's shrinkflation. And when we were looking at the inflation at all-time highs back in June of 2022, or just 2022 period, inflation was really high. What they would do is they would say, yeah, you know what? We have to raise the prices on our products because everything is more expensive. But guess what? They were raising the prices and shrinking the bottles. It's like, what? So you're giving us less and you're charging us more. So I could somewhat understand it if you're increasing the prices, but the bottle is exactly the same, 32 ounces. But if you're giving us less now and you're raising the prices, what is going on? And so, it is a problem. It's a very, very big problem. I know there's another country, I don't want to say it was France. I think it was France, where what they were doing is, and this was they were doing this, but they were also benefiting from it. Okay, and I'll explain to you what they were doing. So let's say I give you the example of Gatorade. When you're walking through the aisles and you see these little flags that come out and they have, coupon, save here, all that kind of stuff. They were putting these little flags in the aisles on certain products. So if it was like Gatorade, they put that little flag on there where Gatorade was, and they'll say this price, this is this has been shrunk, basically. This product has been shrunk. It used to be this and this and that or whatever. So they would actually warn people in the stores. And it sounds good, right? That would be nice if I would know, if you were letting people know, hey, wow, this thing changed. It used to be, 32 ounces. Now it's less. And now it costs the same amount or it costs more. That's good. I think that's a good thing, right? But what the store was also doing is right next to that, they would have their product. So, they always have their different, what is it? Walmart's like the Great Value, or you have all these different store brands that you can buy. Kirkland is Costco. And so right next to it, they would have their product. So what they were doing is they were discouraging you from buying the Gatorade, and they were saying, hey, you know what? We have one right here. It's the same price, and it's 32 ounces or, what have you. And that's what they were doing. So they were making more money as a result of people going and buying their product instead of buying Gatorade or buying another product. So it's kind of, they were giving you information that was good information, but then they were also just trying to sell their product as well. Okay, Pat says, thank you for a membership. Thank you, Pat. Just join me, Pat, when we do our little live streams. Just make sure you join. And I say that, and the reason why I want you guys to join is when I do these, like if I do a private live stream for members, I need to have people there so we can talk, And so that's the big thing. And the talk is mainly going to be just about what do you guys want to see on the channel, that kind of stuff. What are some of the topics that you guys are paying attention to now and all that. So, all right. Just think of it as, what do they call those things? A survey group, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Like a survey group. Okay. British Gray says, David, are the SSA recipients going to be getting a 5% COLA increase? Wow. I don't know. I don't know where you're getting that information from. So COLA for 2025, they've just increased it a little bit. The estimate. Right now, all we're seeing are estimates. We're not going to know anything until October of this year. So the basic way that it works is July, August, and September. Those are the 3 months where they use the CPIW scores. So they'll get the CPIW scores. So every month, if you guys know, you guys know, every month I put out information regarding the CPI score. So inflation. I give you guys the regular CPI. They calculate the CPIW for wage earners. Okay, clerical. That's what they're using. So starting in July, I'll start giving you those numbers. So July, August, and September, I'm going to give you those numbers. We'll do the calculations and we'll see what COLA will be for 2025. Now, they make the announcement. The Social Security Administration will make the announcement. Usually it's the second week of October, letting us know what COLA will be for 2025. The estimates right now, or what some of the experts are saying, is they think it's going to be around 3%. That's just based on what we're seeing right now when it comes to inflation. We see regular inflation right now, 3.5%. I'd have to look into what CPIW is, but usually it's around the same. You know, they run together. The CPIW and the CPI run pretty close. So I'll give you that information. But right now, the estimate is it's going to be around 3%, and it will change depending on how our economy is doing, and depending on how inflation is doing. Okay. We'll work through this. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. And I'm going to go through the chat here and see. Okay, so Howard's saying, yeah, so, and you're saying immigrants here legally are eligible for Social Security. That can be true, yeah, but you still need to qualify. Like, when it comes to Social Security, you're still, if you are here, you're an immigrant, you're here legally, you've been working, you have your documents, you're working, you're paying into the payroll contribution, you reach it. I don't know all the, I don't know if they have like a grace period or what, but you still need to work the same amount of work that anyone would do to qualify. So if it's 10 years, it's 10 years, whatever. So that's the way our system works. But all I'm saying is the misinformation that's out there right now, they're not talking about people who are illegally here and working. They're talking about people who are illegally here. They can, without work, without any work at all, they can receive Social Security benefits. And that's simply not true. And that's what's going, because that is what will upset people, right? If someone comes to this country as an immigrant and they're working their way up to citizenship, and they're working and they're doing all the, they're contributing to our country, I think the most people are not going to have a problem with if someone is paying into the payroll contribution and earning their points just like everyone else, and they're doing it the legal way. I don't think people would have a problem to that. As a matter of fact, they are contributing to the people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits. That's why you do have lawmakers out there right now that are saying, look, we need to reform Social Security, we need to reform Social Security, yes, but we need to reform immigration. Because if we reform immigration, we have people coming to this country because our birth rates right now are low. Okay. And that's a huge problem. Our birth rates have dropped. We have less people in this country, and we have less people working as a result of that. Okay. So if you are bringing in immigrants the legal way, allowing them to come in, and they're coming in at working age, okay, allowing them to work, paying into the payroll contribution, that's helping the Social Security program. Okay, so that you have lawmakers right now that are trying to really push for immigration reform. And one reason that they're really wanting to push for immigration reform is the fact that, look, we have working able-bodied people that can come to this country right now and legally work. What we're seeing is we're seeing some people coming in and they're not coming in the legal way and they don't have documents and they're still working. And these companies are paying them under the table, paying them cash or doing what have you. So now they're not contributing to Social Security at all. And that's a problem. So that's why we need to reform immigration. Okay. Let's see what. David. So David says, Streamline. Oh, did I do a poll? Yeah, you know what? I'll have to do that. Maybe it automatically said that. There needs to be a poll on who acts more presidential. I don't know if I have that in a poll. The stream. So if you guys don't know, you see the little Streamlabs thing, the little thing in blue. That is just a bot that I have set up on my Streamlabs thing, where it will just post different things, random posts, so I don't have to get in the chat and say, "Hey, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe," blah blah, blah, all that stuff. But I don't know if I had a poll out. Maybe I will do a poll in the future if I didn't have one out. Yes, I'm on SSI. Not much to live on. Yeah. So and that's true. Like SSI is, and it's very hard to stay on SSI because of the income levels that you have to meet certain criteria. But if you had someone that was here and they weren't here legally and they were very, very poor, they could qualify for SSI. But once again, that's not Social Security. That money's not coming from the Social Security trust fund or coming from Social Security payroll contribution. Not where it comes from. It comes from our general fund. Okay. All right. Anything else? We're gonna do the membership. I'm gonna give some memberships right now. And let's see. And so Linda here is saying, very upset that they get more than the American working people. See, that's what I'm saying. Not true. It is not true. And they can't show you, the people that are saying this, you know, the gentleman that I showed in the video, they can't show you someone that is doing that. Okay? They won't show you someone receiving a check from the Social Security Administration of $3,800. They're not going to show you that because it's not true. It doesn't happen. Okay. All right. And David saying it's not reasonable. Yeah, you have to, I mean, a lot of these cases, you just have to look at it and just think, like, does this sound right? And if it doesn't sound right, then you really need to do some research. I think what we do a lot, and with the internet, there's so much information, like information overload, and that's good and bad. But you have people that will just say, they'll just say things. And if you say it enough times, what is that saying? You say it enough times and, you know, people just start believing it. Even if it's just like off the wall crazy, people will believe it because they hear it all the time. Well, I hear this. Everybody's saying that, you know, people are receiving Social Security benefits that are not even here legally and they're getting, you know, the maximum amount. And, you know, everybody's saying that. So it must be true. And people don't do the research. You can easily do a Google search and Google will tell you our current system and how it works. But they don't go that far. They don't look into it. They just rely on people to tell them things. And another thing that I really, really find, it's concerning but it really upsets me is people don't believe the government. Okay. And when I say the government, I mean like numbers coming from the government, CPI, inflation numbers, crime statistics. The FBI puts out their crime reports. Just stuff that's coming from the government. They won't believe that. Oh, it's made up. It's falsified. It's this, it's that, it's this. So they're not going to believe the government, but they'll believe someone like me. Okay? And when I'm saying that, what I'm trying to say is I don't have to bring any facts to you. I do. When I talk about things, when I'm talking about the economy, when I'm, talking about inflation, I'm bringing you that information coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm giving you that information if it's talking about crime or what have you. I'm showing you the crime statistics. I'm giving you the information. I'm citing the sources. If I'm reading an article and there's something in there, I'm letting you guys know where I got that information from. Even if it's misinformation, just like I showed you this video clip coming from a YouTube channel redacted, I'm telling you where the stuff is coming from. So if you guys want to check it out on your own, you can do that. But the problem is you'll have people that will debunk, okay, well, you believe the federal government? You believe the Bureau of Labor Statistics? You believe, sources, articles that are coming from well-known publications like the New York Times, like Reuters, like Associated Press, like Axios. Like you're getting this from legitimate news sources, and people won't believe those things coming from these sources, but they'll believe someone like me. And when I say that, I just mean someone on YouTube or someone on Twitter or someone that just writes something without any sources. That's the first thing that you need to pay attention to. If someone is putting something out there with no sources, they're not telling you where they're getting it from. Usually there's a reason why they're not telling you where they're getting from it. Usually there's a reason why they're not telling you where they're getting it from. It's because they're just making it up. This information, let me see. Oh, God. This tweet that I showed you, it just says, important question. Should the Supreme Court block Biden from giving Social Security to illegal immigrants? Retweet, please. So they're just asking a question. But when you're reading it, you're thinking, wow, is that what they're doing? Is that what's going on? They're not citing anything. They're not showing you any source. And realistically, if you look at it, they're asking a question. Should the Supreme Court jump in? The Supreme Court to block Biden from giving Social Security to illegal immigrants? They're leading you to believe like, okay, well, this is going on now. But like I said, if people are telling you things, and this is a huge problem, and we're seeing this because now YouTube has become, not just YouTube, just in general, the internet has allowed us, I'm just an average person sitting in front of a camera talking to you guys. I can tell you guys whatever I want to tell you, right? I like to be responsible. I like to give you guys information, to give you data, give you the sources. But not everyone is that way. And they'll just tell you stuff and lead you to believe that this stuff is going on without any receipts. Okay? And so that's what we need to be careful about, because that is going to split us, divide us as a country, which we're already seeing this division, and it makes us weaker when it does that. Because now we're pointing our fingers at everybody else like, well, no, it's your fault. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. Well, I read this or I saw this and, I saw, it's bad. And the worst part about this is we're being influenced by what we're seeing on the internet without sources, without real sources. I'm not going to believe the Bureau of Labor Statistics that tells me about inflation, but I'm going to believe some guy that has no information, no research that they've done. They just come on TV or come on the internet and say, yeah, this is what I think is going on. Or they start these conspiracy theories and all this kind of stuff. And we're being influenced by that. And not all that influence, not all these people are coming from the US, which is really concerning. You have people that are outside, adversaries that are sending information to the US, to us, and influencing us in different ways. And we have no idea. We don't even know about it, because we're just believing what we see on the internet. Okay. And William's saying, I don't buy it. Let's see what else we have here. It says, who here gets the maximum Social Security benefit? Yeah, at $3,800, that is the maximum right now. And that's just for if you retire at 67. Now, if you wait until you're 70, it goes up to like $4,500. Jessica saying it's a lie in my opinion. And David saying it just doesn't make any sense at all. All right. Okay, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put it out. We're going to go ahead and do the 5 more memberships right now. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. All right, there we go. 5 more memberships gifted to Tamara, Brad, James, Sharon, and Darius. So thank you for becoming a member, and we'll be doing some membership live streams very shortly. Okay, let's see. All right, so I see. All right. Yes, united we stand, divided we fall. All right, guys. Any questions? Do the 2-minute warning before the end of the show. Thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it, as always. And remember, on Monday, I'm going to be going live. We're going to be talking about the former President Trump court case. We're going to be talking about that. So he will have the force. Wow. Getting tired. I can't talk anymore. We'll have the first court appearance or I won't say court appearance. Actually, the trial will start on Monday. And so the trial's not going to be televised, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of information coming out. And so we'll do a live stream, maybe a couple of hours, and just talk about what is going on in the courtroom. They're going to be doing jury selection. So maybe we'll go over the questions that they'll be asking the jurors, and then we'll just move from there. We'll continue to follow this story. I think it's this is history. History making. We've never seen a president or a former president face a felony criminal charge in a court. So this will be a first. So this is going to be in the history books 100 years from now, when we're all long and gone. people will be talking about this because this will be go down in the history books. Now this is the first case that they're actually first felony criminal case that we're seeing, but there will be more in the future because he's facing, I think, a total of 88 charges. So he's got at least is it two or three more cases? Well, he's got the Georgia case. He has the documents case, and I think he has one more case. Can't think of the other one offhand, but he's got some cases in front of him. Okay. You welcome, Tamara. All right, guys. Any questions? A 2-minute warning is almost up. And let's see. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll be posting a video tomorrow. Every day I post a video if you guys don't know. So, and generally the way I post the videos, usually it's around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, between 10 a.m. and noon Pacific Standard Time. So that's when my videos generally go out. So make sure you stop by and check those videos out. And I haven't talked about this in a while, but let me know in the comments of the videos if you received a notification for that video. And remember, if you're subscribed to my channel, you do need to click that little bell icon, and that bell icon will allow you to get notifications when I send out videos. And so it's very important because sometimes the way YouTube does things is you'll be getting my content for a while, but let's say you miss a couple of notifications or you don't click on my video for a couple of my videos. If I'm posting every day, then they'll just stop sending you notifications. So you won't even know. You'll be subscribed to my channel, but you'll have no idea that I'm still posting videos every day. So make sure you hit the little bell icon, and you should get those notifications. All right, guys, I'm going to take off. Thank you guys all for being here, and we will be back next Thursday, 5:15 Pacific Standard Time, and also on Monday. Come back on Monday, and we'll be talking about the hush money case. All right, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.